Hello, this is Wyatt Cash from Scoop News Group, and we're talking with Coley Burke from Zerto. Coley, thank you for joining us today, and we're excited to have you be part of the IBM Think Gov 2020 digital event experience.
Thank you, Wyatt. Glad to be here.
So let me ask first, how has the multi-cloud portfolio approach to helping IT agencies, you know what, I'm going to start that all over from the beginning. I missed. Okay, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to turn that recording off. 1 second. Actually, I'll just leave it running and we'll start again.
Okay.
Sorry. Got my rhythm mixed up. Okay, take two. 3, 2, and 1. Hello, this is Wyatt Cash from Scoop News Group, and we're talking with Coley Burke from Zerto. Thank you for joining us today, Coley. We're excited to have you be part of the IBM Think Gov 2020 digital event experience.
Thank you, Wyatt. Happy to be here.
Coley, how has a multi-cloud portfolio approach to IT helped accelerate digital transformation in government from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question and something we deal with quite a bit. Multi-cloud has really opened up the opportunities to accelerate and realize the transformation that comes when you go down an approach of truly getting to digital transformation. So for us, we see multi-cloud as the enablement of hybrid IT, where you get the flexibility you need to place your data where it best serves value. And that value could be accelerate the delivery of something, potentially save money, whatever it might be. But it also provides level of choice. So multi-cloud for us, we look at it as our goal is to provide very seamless ability to move to, from, and between cloud. So as potentially, some call it a cloud exit strategy, I like to call it cloud flexibility. If a particular cloud provider makes a change or sunsets a service that you were using, having the ability to seamlessly come out and go into another cloud or move between on-prem or private clouds into public cloud is very important. So for us, we see multi-cloud as a key enabler of accelerating digital transformation and unlocking the advantage of the right cloud at the right time to meet the need.
Also, how have automated workflow applications transformed the delivery of digital services in government, in your estimation?
Yeah, I think that's so crucial. The speed of which things need to be delivered now in the new world, and government has seen so much transformation with not only trying to meet the needs of the constituents, the agencies and departments, but do it with very quick efficiency, reduction in force, and trying to do more with less and really stay focused on what the agencies need. Automated workflow becomes extremely important. For us, we live in the world of trying to transform a process. If we can help transform a process, and in our world, that process might be around how you recover something. So delivering digital services requires extreme uptime because those digital services are so ubiquitously used across many devices. It might be many people access it differently. Certainly now what we're seeing, all this work from home, how they're accessing it. So for us, we go into if we can automate the workflow of recovery. How do you protect it? How do you recover it? How do you move it around to best serve that business value, as I mentioned in the previous question? If we can automate that and transform that process, it makes IT so much more efficient. And in turn, that leads to a speed of delivering digital services much more rapidly. So that's how we see it. Again, we live in the data side of it. If we can help automate that process of application protection and recovery, we do know that in turn is going to leave more time for IT to spend actually creating, delivering those services.
Well, thinking of your experiences working with and calling on government, what are you hearing as the top 2 priorities for protecting government data more securely in government?
So, I'm going to approach that question from where we kind of see it. For us, we all know that it's very difficult to protect someone actually getting in, right? For us, we look at what is the recovery and remediation plan. So Zerto takes the approach of if we can provide a very consistently repeatable process of recovery in the event of, or when something happens, we want to make sure that you can very confidently know that you have the ability to come out of that, very quickly manage out of the disruption that was caused by a cyber event. So that's where we come at it. That's a piece of the recovery plan, obviously, is having the ability to not have to go through a lengthy recover and a restore, or frankly, deal with an extended outage caused by a particular event that may have, IT in a lockdown situation. So for us, it's all about the recovery aspect. So that is a big piece of it. Consistent process, meet the SLAs, and know that confidently IT can go back to the agency and the department and say, in the event of, we have a plan. And then the biggest thing that we see is test the plan. Just like there's a lot of disaster recovery planning, we're starting to see the advent, a more focus on cyber planning or cyber testing, where you're testing your cyber recovery plan against what could happen. It's very easy to plan against a disaster. We all know how to do that. Cyber events and securing data and making sure that you have a recovery plan require different thinking. So we definitely see create the plan, make sure it's consistently repeatable, and test it to ensure that it works in the event of.
And finally, what's one of the key IT lessons that your organization kind of came away with as everybody's had to pivot to the pandemic that would be relevant to our government listeners?
Yeah, I think the one that we see the most, and it's one I love talking about, back to transformation, and we talked about transformation and process. When we look at the very quick change from legacy ways of doing things, using legacy products, legacy process, to one day you're one way and the next day you're completely different, whether you're dealing with furloughs, staff that is disparate, and now maybe some of them aren't even available. The biggest thing that we see, and for government, and certainly it holds true, is that must modernize. We must modernize. IT needs to modernize their technology that delivers the ability to very quickly adapt to change. And where we see people that have gone through a digital transformation process, or even if they're in some midst of it, driven by the need to modernize technology, which leads to transformation of process, which leads to more efficient use of people, those companies are very quickly able to switch over to a new working environment and go on. Some of those that have not made that adjustment tend to not maybe do something because, well, and I'll give you a great example. If you all of a sudden move to work from home and everybody's distributed, your ability to go drive patches that leads to vulnerability management, outcomes, you may not do it. It may be too risky. If you've got a good way to handle that, and you've got a good way to manage the disruption that might come from things you do, and you can very quickly mitigate the impact of that disruption, whether you're working on-prem or working remotely or distributed, you have the ability to adapt much faster. So for us, we like to see that. We believe at Zerto that we can drive a different outcome because our solution and our platform can transform the way businesses think about, or agencies and IT departments think about business continuity planning, all those things that come into it, because we think we've got a great solution to transform that and automate the process of protection, placement, and recovery of data. When we do that, we can start transforming process, which makes it much more easily adaptable when things change. So that's, for me, is the big one. Modernize, look for ways to transform and streamline processes to become more efficient. And therefore you can ride through a change of not only your day-to-day, but also you can ride through the people impact side of it. So that's what we see. And we believe coming out of it that the jumps in IT are going to be very rapid. I think we will evolve very quickly coming out of this pandemic, because we're all going to look for new ways to say, okay, that didn't work. When I shifted over from my previous day-to-day to my new day-to-day, I saw these issues. And that's the fun part for me, is the evolution that will happen in IT. And I think government can be one of the biggest leaders of that, because of the breadth and all the different complexities that everything touches, as well as, the smart folks in government that know how to really run things at scale. I think we'll see some really neat transition and transformation happen coming out of this.
Well, I certainly agree. I think everyone's going to be looking at business continuity in a new and larger perspective. And modernization clearly is even more important than ever to make sure that whatever comes our way, agencies and enterprises are prepared. Well, Coley Burke, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your sharing some of your observations on the IT government community. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Wyatt. Thanks for having me.